Starting overnight, there are two major headlines coming from the White House showing you and indicating where the president's focus is right now. Travel ban and Biden. Let's explain. President Trump just signed a new travel ban blocking people from 12 countries in the Middle East, Africa, and the Caribbean from entering the United States, citing what he calls national security threats. A White House official tells CNN the president made the final call here to issue the ban after the anti-Semitic attack in Boulder, Colorado. The suspect, an Egyptian national, has been charged with a federal hate crime and attempted murder. Egypt, though, is not on the banned list this time. Trump announced the new move in an Oval Office video.
The recent terror attack in Boulder, Colorado, has underscored the extreme dangers posed to our country by the entry of foreign nationals who are not properly vetted, as well as those who come here as temporary visitors and overstay their visas. We don't want them.
So this really is a throwback to one of the messiest chapters of Trump's first term. His travel ban then barred entry into the United States from 7 predominantly Muslim countries. And you'll remember it set off a wave of legal challenges. It was put on hold, it was revised, and then eventually repealed under President Biden. TBD on what happens now as he resurrects this policy. And speaking of Biden, he's at the center of that other big headline I mentioned from overnight. Trump has now directed the Justice Department to investigate Biden's actions as president. Trump's latest fixation is attacking his predecessor is Biden's use of an auto pen to sign policy documents, citing Biden's alleged, quote, cognitive decline. The former president has responded to this, calling the accusations and the investigation, quote, ridiculous and false. CNN's Elena Treen is at the White House. Let's get to both. Let's start with the travel ban. What are you learning about this?
Yeah, look, I mean, this is something that we know that President Donald Trump had been thinking about wanting to do for a while. But a White House official tells us, Kate, that essentially that attack in Boulder, the anti-Semitic attack, really sped things up. And that's why you saw him sign that proclamation yesterday evening. Now, the White House has been saying that this is because they believe that having travel from these different countries is a national security threat. But you pointed this out as well. This travel ban that we saw him sign goes way farther than the ban that he signed during his first term. This one has 12 countries in it. A couple include Afghanistan, Myanmar, also known as Burma, Chad, the Republic of Congo, many others, Haiti, Iran, the list goes on, for full restrictions of nationals who can come into the United States from those countries. And then there's another 7 countries, Kate, where they face partial travel restrictions. That includes Cuba, Sierra Leone, Venezuela. Again, the list goes on. Now, we did hear the president in that video that you shared. He also said that other countries could be added to this list if he believes that they are threats to the United States. Take a listen to how he put it.
We cannot have open migration from any country where we cannot safely and reliably vet and screen those who seek to enter the United States. The list is subject to revision based on whether material improvements are made, and likewise new countries can be added as threats emerge around the world. But we will not allow people to enter our country who wish to do us harm.
Now, Kate, this proclamation includes, I think this is important to know, includes exceptions for lawful permanent residents, existing visa holders, certain visa categories, and individuals whose entry serves U.S. national interest. It goes into effect 12:01 a.m. on June 9th.
Now, let's move to the Biden investigation that the president just directed the Department of Justice to conduct. What is this all about?
Yeah, I mean, this memo that he signed as well yesterday is pretty striking. I mean, look, it comes as the president for weeks now, and I've been hearing this repeatedly in my conversations with White House officials, has been fixated on the former president's use of the auto pen. Essentially, perhaps if he's on a different part of the country, he's out of the country, needs to sign documents, different orders, they can use an automated version of his signature on some of these different orders. And that's been something that has really gotten gotten under the president's skin. And yesterday we saw him direct his Justice Department as well as his White House counsel to open an investigation into this. But it actually goes further than that as well, Kate, in the sense that it asks the Justice Department to investigate if people around Biden were purposefully and knowingly shielding his mental state from the public. So this could be a very messy investigation as we see it unfold over the next couple of weeks. Kate?
Absolutely. Elena, thank you very much from the White House for us this morning.
Joining me now in the group chat, Phil Mattingly, CNN anchor and chief domestic correspondent, Michael Warren, senior editor at The Dispatch, and Sabrina Singh, former deputy Pentagon press secretary. All right, first I want to start with you, Phil, because I feel like you have had such a good beat on like how the White House has been thinking this time around. This seems like something that Stephen Miller et al. Will make sure is more airtight legally than the first time around.
I think that's been demonstrated by the process they went through to reach to this point, the State Department decision or review that was done in advance, the efforts that were made to try and establish the legal underpinning before they actually made this move. I think it's really important to understand. We all think back on the travel ban in the first term.
Yeah, it was like one of their first things out of the gate.
It was a mess. It was a disaster, and Sean Spicer was trying to explain it, and the airports were a complete chaotic disaster as well. What people don't remember from the first term is they actually ended up getting a version of the travel ban implemented and signed off on by the courts, including the Supreme Court. And that underscored a process that I think has just been so formative to everything they've done in these first 4 or 5 months. They learned.
Yeah.
They learned, and they understood, okay, we can't do it this way. The court said that's a problem, we're going to fix that.
Which is why we're probably, and then at the same time, that doesn't stop there from being legal problems, but it's a different approach. You guys, let me take it to this side. What are you thinking this time around with this list of countries, for example, or in approach?
Well, I mean, they're saying that this wasn't in response to the attack that happened in Boulder, but yet, you know, it comes just days after that attack in Boulder, and that individual was from Egypt, and Egypt is notably not on that list of
So you don't think
countries
this
that
is
are
sitting in
banned.
a drawer somewhere? It feels like they've been waiting.
They've been working and waiting on it, and I think to Phil's point, they've really taken their time and been more precise. I think this is going to immediately come to the courts. There's going to be a challenge. You know, let's see what happens, but it's going to play out in the legal system as well.
So the American Immigration Council weighing in, saying these travel bans do nothing to make us safer or more prosperous. They harm our economy and indiscriminately punish immigrants who otherwise qualify to come. And I raise this because some of these are war-torn areas. Like it's not exactly like an influx of people coming here, especially given asylum laws. So what does this accomplish?
I don't know, because the justifications so far are kind of a little all over the place. Or, right, this whole idea of a visa overstay problem, which is clearly a real problem, and you don't have to look to Boulder to see it. I mean, that's.
But is it even from these countries?
Exactly.
Like
Well, this is my point. I mean, I think it is a solution that was waiting for an opportunity to be unleashed. That's, I think, what the Trump administration was looking to do with this. Immigration requires a lot of resources for enforcement. It's really hard, actually, to find people who are here who have overstayed their visas or who are otherwise are here and should not be here. And I think the administration is finding themselves, unable to do what they had thought they might be able to do in terms of that enforcement.
I think they're even looking at a massive hiring effort, basically,
right.
to supplement.
I think they're looking to kind of deal these things out as ways of saying, hey, look, we're doing something, because the actual work of it is actually pretty hard.
Well, one thing it has been effective as is changing the world's sort of view of the U.S. as a welcoming place. But here's an example from a top Venezuelan official who says being in the U.S. is, quote, a big risk for anyone, not just Venezuelans. If you're really that foolish, then go to the United States. They're supremacists who think they own the world and persecute our people for no reason.
I think it's an important statement because that's a feature, not a bug for this administration. And I think the mistake people make when they look at individual policies is not understanding that this isn't happening in a vacuum. This is part of a significant kind of
reorientation
of effort to try and invert a system. We're not trying to welcome people in. We're trying to make people prove why they should be here in terms of the U.S. government. And it's something that starts on, they know who's working at the consular level in these countries. And if they don't feel like they're allied with that version of how we do immigration, They want them out. And when you think, well, that's pretty granular, that's pretty ground level for the federal government, the West Wing, the White House to know about. No, they know about it. And personnel from that level all the way to the West Wing is part of this consideration, as is every single thing they've been rolling out over the course of the last
I
couple
love that
months.
you said that, and I want to underscore something you said. It's not just about keeping people out. It's making them prove why they should be here. And I think that's like a nuance sometimes people don't hear when they think about these bans.